Do I consider myself a social butterfly? Yes. Do I consider myself an extrovert? Yes. Do I love doing stuff with friends? Yes. Do I have social anxiety? Yes. Bruh. I know I'm not alone in this. I know I'm not alone. Don't make me feel alone. So I consider myself a sociable person. I love being out with family, friends, just hanging out, doing whatever. I'll try anything once, but I still have some sort of social anxiety. Now, I don't want to walk into a room alone. I don't want to be the first to arrive, but I also don't want to be the last to arrive. Like, I like being around a group of people, like large groups of people, but I also don't. But I also do, but I also don't. Like, I know you get me. So on one hand, I feel a little bit cringe even talking about it because I feel like you have to kind of defend yourself. Because if you say anything regarding mental health now, people kind of look at you like, oh, wow, another label, anxiety this, anxiety that. You're just weak or you're just being soft. Although saying weak and soft is kind of a label in itself, the irony of it all. So then the other hand is like, you have to kind of prove it. And then if I'm proving it, like, is it even real? So I don't know. So that's where I'm just like always like, whatever. I just won't say anything. You kind of deal with it internally. I feel like we should talk about it. It makes people feel better knowing they're not alone in this. So my thing is, I love hosting. I love having people over. But I stress so much because I will think of the worst case scenario for everything. And I have to try to prevent it. Even things that in a million years are probably never going to happen. I'm just thinking of them and trying to not let that happen. Or I don't want them to be inconvenienced in a way. Like, people come over, they love to bring things. And I feel like, okay, maybe they are inconvenienced if they bring something. So I'm like, no, don't bring anything. Just bring yourself. And then I'm kind of a little stressed out because I'm like, oh my God, what if I don't have enough of this? Or what if I don't have enough of that? I mean, it really doesn't matter what it is. Something's going to give me some type of anxiety hosting because that's just me. I mean, one time I misplaced napkins. I put these napkins in one certain spot. And then the next day, I even put it in that spot saying, I'm going to put it here because I know I'm going to open this cabinet and those napkins are to be there. I'm going to see them. No way to miss them. Well, the next day, the day of the event came, for a short blank moment, I forgot where I placed these napkins. And I was probably sweating and freaking out in my head, like walking back and forth, looking for these napkins in the same spot they were at. I don't know how I like overlooked it, but I did. And of course you have people like, oh, it's okay. We can just use the regular. I was like, no, we got to use these napkins. So just panicking for no reason, really. At the end of the day, after it was over, it was like really no reason. Also, I found them. So that made me feel good, but still, it was no reason. It doesn't even have to be where I'm hosting at my home or having people over. It's just, if I think of an activity or I think of a restaurant to go to, I kind of overwhelm myself with making sure that that person or the people that's invited will have a great experience, that the food is great, the service is good. And if it's not, I am so embarrassed because how dare I even suggest a place? Why didn't I know that was going to happen? And it's really not even necessary, but that's just kind of like my mind frame and where my social anxiety kicks in. Like, I don't want to be embarrassed, or I'm afraid of being embarrassed. I'm putting a pressure on me to make sure someone else is having a great time so they can hang out again. I just feel like if something goes wrong or someone's disappointed in it, then it'll be a reflection on me as a person. And I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that this is just how I am, and maybe you can relate to it. Like, I'll find any reason to celebrate life events. I just love celebrating. I love, being out and about. So when I'm obsessing or stressing over things like this, it kind of makes you not be in the moment anymore. And that defeats the whole purpose of the celebration. So a few things that I've learned along the way that has helped me some is I try to think positive. I don't try to think about what can go wrong, but what was the purpose of us being together anyway? I remind myself that I'm the only one that's worried about being embarrassed or me embarrassing myself. No one else cares. So why am I making this a big deal? And this one I learned from my therapist. Shout out to him. Comment below if you are familiar with my therapist and me speaking about him. But it's a cognitive Cognitive behavioral therapy. It's a method where you can role play a situation and how you would react realistically. So for one example, I remember my birthday, I was worried about something going wrong, or something went wrong at the time in my eyes. And he's like, okay, so what will you do now? And I offered a solution that was manageable, realistic, and it didn't ruin the event. It didn't ruin my birthday. But before I took a step back to even analyze it, that's all I could think about, was that something was ruined because it didn't go the way I wanted, because I felt like I was gonna be embarrassed by it, or I felt like that would have been perfect and it didn't happen. But in actuality, if something goes wrong, I would just take it on the chin and move past. Another is lower my expectations.
Hold up, wait a minute.
Not in life. Lower my expectations of the pressure I'm putting on myself to please others. Not because I can't meet them, but because no one's asking for that. No one is asking for anything to be perfect. Really, we all just want to be together and just have a great time. Most importantly, talk to someone who has the experience to help you process and deal with it, or a licensed professional like I have. I know the amount of progress that I've made is really thanks to me speaking to a therapist consistently and doing the work. I feel like I say this one a lot. Just be yourself. Your community and village will care about you no matter what. Don't overwhelm yourself with these thoughts. Just think positive and think about the reason why you're going out. Your anxiety may not go away, but it will become easier to manage. All right, let's chat later, ladies.